Hello everyone, hope you're doing great. Let's start with part 3 of chapter number 11. We will start with existence of a militant nationalist school of thought. This is on page number 192 and let's start with it. From almost the beginning of the national movement, a school of militant nationalism had existed in the country. This school was represented by the leaders like Ram Rajan Narayan Bose and Ashwini Kumar Dutt in Bengal and Vishnu Sahastri Chiplunkur in Maharashtra. The most outstanding representative of the school was Bal Gangadhar Tilak, later popularly known as Lokmanya Tilak. He was born in 1856. From the day of his graduation from Bombay University, he devoted his entire life to the service of this country. He helped to found during the 1880s the New English School, which later became the Ferguson's College, and the newspapers the Maratha in English and Kesari in Marathi. From 1889, he edited the Kesari and preached nationalism in its columns and taught people to become courageous, self-reliant and selfless fighters in the cause of India's independence. In 1893, he started using the traditional religious Ganpati festival to propagate nationalist ideas through songs and speeches. In 1895, he started the Shivaji festival to stimulate nationalism among young Maharashtrians by holding up the example of Shivaji for emulation. During 1896 and 97, he initiated a no tax campaign in Maharashtra. He asked the famine stricken peasants of Maharashtra to withhold payment of land revenue if their crops had failed. He set a real example of boldness and sacrifice when the authorities arrested him in 1897 on the charge of spreading hatred and disaffection against the government. He refused to apologize to the government and was sentenced to 18 months rigorous imprisonment. Thus, he became a living symbol of the new national spirit of self-sacrifice. At the dawn of 20th century, the school of militant nationalists found a favorable political climate and its adherents came forward to lead the second stage of national movement. The most outstanding leaders of the militant nationalism, apart from Lokmanya Tilak, were Bipin Chandra Pal, Aurobindo Ghosh, and Lala Lajpat Rai. The distinctive political aspects of the programs of the militant nationalists were as follows. They believed that Indians themselves must work out their own salvation and make the effort to rise from their degraded position. They declared that great sacrifices and sufferings were needed for this task. Their speeches, writings, and political work were full of boldness and self confidence, and they considered no personal sacrifice too great for the good of their country. They denied that India could progress under the benevolent guidance and control of the English. They deeply hated the foreign rule and they declared in a clear cut manner that Swaraj or independence was the goal of the national movement. They had deep faith in the strength of the masses and had planned to achieve Swaraj through mass action. They therefore pressed for political work among the masses for direct political action by the masses. A trained leadership. By 1905, India possessed a large number of leaders who had acquired during the previous period valuable experience in guiding political agitations and leading political struggles. Without a trained band of political workers, it would have been difficult to take the national movement to a higher political stage. The partition of Bengal. The conditions for the emergence of militant nationalism had thus developed when in 1905 the partition of Bengal was announced and the Indian national movement entered its second stage. On 20th July 1905, Lord Curzon issued an order dividing the province of Bengal into two parts, Eastern Bengal and Assam, with a population of 31 million, and the rest of the Bengal with a population of 54 million, of whom 18 million were Bengalis and 36 million Biharis and Odias. It was said that the existing province of Bengal was too big to be efficiently administered by a single provincial government. However, the officials who worked out the plan had also other political ends in the view. They hoped to stem a rising tide of nationalism in Bengal, considered at that time to be the nerve center of Indian nationalism. Risley, Home Secretary to the Government of India, wrote in official note on 6th December 1904, Bengal united is a power. Bengal divided will pull several different ways. That is what the Congress leaders feel. Their apprehensions are perfectly correct and they form one of the great merits of the scheme. One of our main objects is to split up and thereby to weaken a solid body of opponents to our rule. The Indian National Congress and the Nationalists of Bengal firmly opposed the partition. Within Bengal, different sections of the population, zamindars, merchants, lawyers, students, the city poor, and even women rose up in spontaneous opposition to the partition of the province. The nationalists saw the act of partition as a challenge to Indian nationalism and not merely an administrative measure. They saw it was a deliberate attempt to divide the Bengalis territorially and on religious grounds. For in the eastern part, Muslims would be in big majority, and in the western part, Hindus, thus disrupt and weaken the nationalism in Bengal. It would also be a big blow to the growth of Bengali language and literature. They pointed out that administrative efficiency could have been better secured by separating the Hindi speaking Bihar and Urdu speaking Odisha from the Bengali speaking part of the province. Moreover, the official step had been taken in utter disregard of public opinion. Thus, the vehemence of the Bengal's protest against the partition is explained by the fact that it was a blow to the sentiments of a very sensitive and courageous people. Thank you everyone for tuning in. In the next part, we will start the anti partition movement. And all the best. Stay tuned for more videos and lectures like this. Thank you everyone. Please do subscribe and share the channel.